Really thrilled to follow the action. Has got DraftKings Johnny Avello, the director of race and sports gaming. Johnny Avello is here. The sports betting is taking over, as we've chronicled many times here on Follow the Action. I believe that COVID is going to accelerate that. You're going to look at maybe 30 to 35 states going to be legal sports betting in the next couple of years. That time is going to be compressed because of this pandemic and a lack of tax revenue in states. So, Mr. Avello, Johnny, thank you very much for joining us.
You're welcome. Thanks for having me on, guys.
I'm excited about the fact I'm in Maryland right now, that when you guys finally get your license in Maryland, so I could actually sign up for DraftKings more than just fantasy. I want to actually bet on your platform. It looks awesome. Tell us about your new app that you got.
Yeah, we started the sportsbook wagering app back in 2018, July 2018, developed by DraftKings. Yeah, it's one of the finest apps. It's easy to use, easy to fund, easy to make bets, a lot of content, and the withdrawal process was also very easy. So, I've been in the business, the sportsbook business, for 35 years. Betting on a mobile app is fairly new for anybody, even for us in Nevada. But I found that DraftKings is the best app that you'll find.
Johnny, what is the future initially going to look like of sports betting? When you go, say, to a sports bar, and I said, a lot of sports bars are signing up with sports books to have some type of partnership. Are you going to have like a kiosk there in different sports bars around the country? Or are people going to have to just bet on their phone? What's the future of sports betting and the integration of sports betting and sports betting apps with sports bars?
We're in about 10 states where we have not only the digital, which is the mobile app, but we have, bricks and mortar location where you can walk in, and they're both important. The future is certainly in the mobile app because of how easy it is to use and fund, and you don't have to leave your home to do anything. But the bricks and mortars are also very important. People like to go into a location, talk to the ticket writer, hey, who do you like tonight? And, just kind of shoot the ball a little bit. But with that being said, the future is certainly going to be on the digital side. That's where all the money is going to be bet, at least most of the money, and the bricks and mortar is going to take a small piece of it.
Johnny, you have so many partnerships now that it seems like weekly they're being announced. I do a lot with the PGA Tour, and you guys have a great partnership with us at the PGA Tour. But how motivated are you for these states to open up? Because right now, a lot of people, especially when we talk on this show, they don't realize you can only bet on sports in just a few states. How fast are you guys trying to push that out?
Well, we'll go whoever will have us. So as they open up, we're positioned to go in rather quickly. We're going to be in a couple more here soon, probably maybe before the end of the year. And next year, I look for another big year, maybe another half dozen or so. I'm looking for this thing to explode, and then eventually everyone will have it.
Johnny, your stock price has gone through the roof. You had the reverse merger. We went public earlier this year, and a lot of that obviously is trading on the potential of where sports betting will be. You obviously have great internal projections about where sports betting will be because you've done everything else well, according to all of the different metrics that are out there. What are your projections for sports betting, say, for the next year, for the next 2 years, 5 years, as far as states that love legalization?
It's hard to really say in how many states we'll be because we can only move as fast as the state regulators approve wagering. But, we're hopeful that we're going to be, double where we are now, hopefully by the end of next year. And, who knows after that? I hope some states are really slow moving. I don't know why, because this is so great for the people that live in your state. The people that live in my state of Nevada have been able to enjoy this since, the 30s. And so now people are just starting to get on board in other places of the U.S. So I say, let's all get on board. What do you think?
I completely agree.
Down for that.
Most of these states do as well because COVID has suppressed tax revenue so much. I just think they're going to rubber stamp a lot of this sports betting that will go through that otherwise would take a lot of lengthy time and bureaucracy to go through because they're such in need of revenue right now. They're seeing what's going on in Jersey and the different states where sports betting is legal. The sports betting itself, as far as a little bit of intricacy of the nuts and bolts, Do you guys create all the lines yourself? Do you guys create those internally, or do you use some type of sharing system?
Yeah, they're all done by the team here. And there's quite an extensive menu. If you guys notice, like, the Philly Giant game, if you look at the number of props on that game, it almost looks like a Super Bowl. That many props are actually there for you to be able to enjoy and wager on. And, we do that for every single NFL game. We do that for a lot of other games. So it's a pretty big team, and, it's getting bigger. When I first came to the company, it was 300 or so employees, and it's only been a couple of years. And now we're up, a couple thousand. So growing fast.
How do you treat sharp money? As far as, we have a great audience here of some real sharp bettors around the world. We have a good sharp component as far as people that follow this and both our UFC shows on Saturday. We also, nearly everybody that follows this podcast is a sports bettor. How do you look at sharp money as far as your sports book?
Well, I like sharp money, and I'll tell you why. Sharp money doesn't get real big limits, and a lot of times sharp money doesn't want really big limits. They want to get down on a game for, 2,000, 5,000, 10,000, sometimes a little more. And you kind of use that play to position yourself and get your line where it should be. They're telling you, when sharps are playing, they're usually telling you that something's wrong with your line. You're off a little bit. So you respect that play and you move to get to where you need to get to.
Hey, John. I'm sorry, Coach. Go ahead. You want to go first?
I was just going to ask you now, with the way that the sports are being rolled out, specifically college football, and now the Big Ten starting this week, how do you guys go about positioning those lines when you really don't know, but then you also have other colleges that have been playing for 5 or 6 weeks?
College football is a little difficult at the beginning of the season. NFL is much easier because we know who all the players are. A couple of guys change here and there, but for the most part, we've got a good handle on the NFL from year to year. College changes so much. And so therefore, there's a lot of reading that takes place initially. And now that we're, a few weeks into those other conferences, we've kind of got a handle on them. And now we're starting, Big Ten starting up, Pac-12, Mountain West. And so these are, conferences that we have to start all over on again. And if you look at some of the line movement already, some of these games have moved 3 points, 4 points. So just goes to show you that the bettors out there are saying you guys are wrong. Now, no, it doesn't always turn out that way. Even though the line moves 3-4 points, it doesn't always get there.
Hey, John, it's Steve. Last time we talked, I was in that big contest at DraftKings. It was a $10,000 entry. Before I ask you about the NFL futures and what teams you have the most liability on, are you guys going to have another, similar type of contest where guys like me, some of the bigger sports bettors out there, can enter? Because it was one of my favorite contests of all time.
2020 was supposed to be a big year for us in contests. We were positioning ourselves to have contests around the country and then tie it all into one big one. Now we're having meetings on this all the time, and we plan on doing this again in 2021. So stay tuned. We'd like to kick off something for March Madness and then continue contests throughout the year and then have the big one at the end of the year. So I'll keep you guys informed as we move forward.
When it comes to NFL futures, what teams do you have most liability on? Obviously, maybe Kansas City, Seattle, Green Bay. Who are you guys buried with futures money?
Yeah, I don't know if we're buried on anybody. We've taken a lot of Chief money. We had them at a much higher price. Ravens also took some money. And as these teams continue to play well, Seattle, they're grabbing money. Green Bay cooled off this week, but they were grabbing money before that. So when you're making future books and you have them up and you're, offering them throughout the entire year, you have to lower some as you take money. You have to raise some up to attract money on those. And that's what we do. We just up and down. It's, raise some, lower some.
Johnny, is there any chance that my Dallas Cowboys, what are the odds they might get relegated to the SEC?
I find this.
I watched that game Monday. I was sick. And I bet on it, by the way. I did bet on it.
This NFC East is really interesting. They got a 5-18-1 record against everybody in the NFL. They got 3 teams tied for second, 1 game back. And we put up a prop, NFC East winner, 7.5 games, over -150. So we're telling you that we don't know if they're going to get to 8 games. 7 might win it. Who knows? 6 might even win it.
Their only hope is they play each other a bunch of times because that's the only
True.
team they can beat. Johnny, we appreciate you coming on. I want to ask you, before we get off, and I do appreciate your time. Love what DraftKings has done. It's just been an amazing story in the United States. How is business? With all the COVID, you've got all the sports playing at almost the same time. The NBA just finished. Major League Baseball is now in the World Series, but you got college football back, as you mentioned, the MAC, the Big Ten, all playing at the same time. Finally, how is business as far as what your projections were for this time of year?
I can truly tell you guys that business is phenomenal. And even during the COVID virus, we found content to display, and our customers really enjoyed betting on. We're doing table tennis and darts and, simulated NASCAR. And then in May and June, we had full cards of UFC and some isolated golf tournaments. Then the PGA returned, and every single golf tournament was better than the last. Then we got into the NBA and hockey, and that did so well. And baseball's done well, and football numbers are through the roof. So couldn't be happier what we're seeing.
Well, thank you, Coach. Did you have something there?
Nope.
Sorry, Johnny. We're trying to do things on Zoom. You never know. You don't have hand signals, and I was Johnny. Thank you. I want to ask one question before you go. The fantasy breakdown between the fantasy and sports betting itself. How do you view DraftKings as far as your future? Is it 2 separate revenue streams, or is it a migration more to sports betting once sports betting becomes legal? Because right now a lot of these states just have fantasy, and that's how they get their fix. Kind of like Robinhood with stock trading right now. Is it going to be 2 separate revenue streams that you see competing against each other when you have sports betting in most of the states?
It's actually 3 different revenue streams, and hopefully more to come. You had the DFS, that's what the company was founded on, DFS back in 2012. DFS is doing as well as it's ever done. Then you have the sports betting, which we know is doing very well. And we have a casino, online casino, which also does tremendously. And there's more to come. When I say more to come, we'd like to get into other things, the horse racing game, which hopefully is not too far off.
John, before you go, do you ever expect DraftKings to have a brick and mortar location, like a hotel casino on the Las Vegas Strip, like DraftKings Hotel Casino?
Well, I don't know if that's in the plans. We are in locations like in Mississippi. We're at the Scarlet Pearl. We're at resorts in New Jersey. So we're in a lot of locations, but I don't think there's any plans for us to have our own. But who knows, guys? Things are ever changing.
Well, it's an incredible success story at DraftKings. It's an amazing story after the reverse merger this year. The stock is one of the best stock stories of the year, but DraftKings one of the best stories of the last several years because of sports betting and where it's going and the quality of what DraftKings is putting out. So, Johnny Avello from DraftKings, thank you very much for joining Follow the Action. Look forward to seeing you again.
Thank you very much, guys.